In a million years, you would never get me to vote for Kamala Harris. You can put a gun to my head and say, hey, either you vote for Kamala Harris or I'm pulling the trigger and I'm going to take my chances with the gun jam. Because I just believe that God got us. We no longer, as black men, a part of the Democratic plantation, and we can learn to think for ourselves. And it was dependent on our women and our parents to continue to finesse us and tell us that we had to vote Democrat just because we black. But an informed voter is a dangerous voter. And the fact that we can think for ourselves and we educated and we got resources, listen, you are the most powerful being on this earth when you become informed, because you unlock your mind to the possibilities of a what if. I'm not telling you that you have to vote Republican, but I am telling you that you are not obligated just because the people that came before you is trying to finesse you and to think one way. You can think for yourself.
So that was Anton Daniels. Big shout out to Anton Daniels, who we've checked out before, and I've actually shown you guys that same clip in a previous video. But he had a panel recently, and it was absolutely hilarious what happened. So once again, big shout out to Anton Daniels. Matter of fact, here, let me put him on the screen, give him a big shout out. This is his @ all right, on X if you want to follow him. Pause it if you need to. All right. Pause it if you need to. But I just wanted to give him a proper shout out. But I want to show you guys this panel that he recently had. Now, I absolutely love stuff like this, you know, where people are sitting down. And once again, it's one of the things that I talked about, having those tough conversations. We all have to do it. I've given you guys examples of me having tough conversations and even having some real crazy things thrown my way, you know, which I told you guys about in previous videos. But let's dive into this panel because it gets pretty interesting, to say the least.
Giving grace today.
Let's ask the same question that he asked CJ to Victor and Jamisha. Jamisha, you talk first. What are the reasons you're backing Kamala? What policies do you agree with?
So, my first thought process is I would want to make sure that I have an
Hold on, but before I know, I'm terrible for pausing it right there. But the fact that she's taking this long to answer the question lets you know where this is heading. The fact that she's taking this long and hesitating and stuttering tells you everything you need to know about her answer. Because if somebody were to ask me the same question that I ask Democrats now, which is, give me a couple of reasons why you're voting for Kamala without mentioning Donald Trump or Republicans, they can't answer that question, right? But if somebody were to flip it, I can most definitely answer it. And I can answer it like that. Like, the fact that she's stuttering tells you where this is going. But let's continue.
I would want to make sure that I have an understanding, or obviously I'm new to this and on this platform, but in reading in the audience, but I do want to have an understanding that the administration signs in the bills and they do specific executive orders in regards to policies and laws, but the people that have these conversations and do the work is Congress. So I understand that we like to say Kamala and Biden and Trump, but I don't view it as that. So I just want to put that out there. I go based on the Congress and people that do that type of work. But one reason that I would support and vote for Kamala outside of the policy when I get to it is Trump is stating that he wants to be a dictator. So I don't want a form of government where one person is just running the country or wanting to get rid of the Constitution, which the country was founded on. So, I mean, that is a big reason why I would want to make sure that I'm voting for the other candidate, because I don't want that to happen to democracy, because I live and work within the democracy as being an elected official. But outside of that, I respect the fact of her encouragement or platform of having diversity and equal representation, meaning we need to get more Black and brown people elected to office. I care about the fact of her health care because Black women die at a high rate when it comes to medical services. I also want women's rights. I shouldn't have to sit here and fight for my rights or my daughter's rights to be able to, if they choose to have an abortion, if something's wrong with the child. These are just little things. The Voters Act, those are things that I feel I want to see replicated in our country, and that's not what the other side has on their platform.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. She started off her narrative about what it is that she didn't like about Trump again. And usually what I've come to conclude is that most people do that because she doesn't have policy. Even the talking points that dictator, even the talking points that she has are general. They're not even real policy. Okay, so number one, Trump never said that he wanted to remove abortion in general. And I'm not even an abortion supporter, right? What he said was it should go back into the states. The states specifically should be the ones to determine what happens on an individual state level, and it should not be in the hands of the federal government in the first place, okay? So that's number one. So all of this fear mongering when it comes to that whole women's rights things, that's trash. Number two, we got the same old talking points when it came to Obama, when it came to the people that's happening on a local level in all of these cities. This diversity, equity, and inclusion shit gotta die. It gotta die. So look, I want the best person for the job.
That's a fact. That's a fact. This DEI stuff, get rid of it. It should be the best man or woman wins. It should be that simple. Your skin color should have nothing to do with it. Whatever happened to judging people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin? Recognize those words? Like, why does skin color matter? As if all Black people think the same. Clearly, we don't. Like, you're looking at Black people that I do not agree with. Some Black folks that I do not agree with. Obviously, me and Anton, I feel like agree on a lot of things. Most things, if not everything. But yeah, like, huh? You want to see more people that are Black? Why does that matter? It should be the best person for the job. Whoever has done the best job. Like, we don't have DEI for NBA players. Like, I can't go play in the NBA. Like, we don't have DEI for the NFL or whatever other sport. Like, there's certain requirements that you have to meet in order to play these certain types of sports. If you don't meet those requirements, well, then you SHIT out of luck. Like, oh. This stuff has just gotten ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
To regulate abortion, that means if you're not in a state that is for allowing someone to have a right to exercise in their body, then you're fucked up. So correct. I want it to be federal because then there is overseer on these rights. I'm not going to be hopping and jumping from each state that is aligning with what I believe in just because we want to give states certain rights. The Constitution created rights for the states, but we have a federal government that needs to oversee states. So it's not adding up because you're going to move to a state if they heavy on policing, right, and they giving police immunity over in Texas.
Hold on, don't skip around. Let's stay on this abortion. Let's stay on this abortion thing.
To North Carolina and state of North Carolina and not be in Texas because we give so much governance over the state. No, I don't agree with that.
Well, listen, here's the beautiful thing. The first thing that y'all can do is close your legs.
Anton, slow down the chat.
No, I'm not slowing down the chat. The first thing that women can do, because y'all so concerned with the government playing a role in what it is that you got going on as far as whether or not you can have a child or not, is close your legs and marry before you carry.
So do you automatically assume that a woman gets an abortion because she doesn't want to have the baby? Or what about if the baby has a disability inside? My
Listen,
daughter was born.
there are exceptions that both sides, agree on.
But
Late
they don't
term,
agree. They
rape,
don't agree on that.
incest,
They said incest,
disabilities. That is not even a
word. So I'm saying, like, I hear you, but you have to speak the facts on what the other side said.
I am speaking
on
the
a
facts.
blanket abortion. Don't care if you slept with your cousin or if you were hard.
I just literally said rape, incest, disabilities, and late term carrying. These are things that they agree with on both sides. Maybe not the late term carrying
levels. Look up Mark Robinson.
Listen. From Trump's perspective and from Kamala's perspective, on both sides, they don't disagree with those three talking points: rape, incest, and late term carrying, especially when it comes to disabilities. Okay,
they do on state levels. There are state governors or people that's running. Mark Robinson for the state of North Carolina is currently trying to run for the governor, and he wants to do a blanket across the state of North Carolina. No abortion.
Then that means that the voters on a local level then should be able to determine whether or not they want him as their governor. Because the local election is if not more important than who it is that you have on a national level. But the fact of the matter is, keep your legs closed. That's number one. And because y'all arguing on something that you can control. I never in my life ever had to worry about anything that was child related, especially when it comes to abortion, because I was very definitive of whether or not I was going to have a child. And there's literally over 100 different forms of contraception to prevent you from putting yourself in that position in the first place. So that's number one. And that's not something it's not something that I'm ever going to let a politician play on my emotions for, as far as what's best for my family. So now you're telling me that number two, you keep on trying to skip past. You keep trying to skip past what you said. You keep trying to skip past what you said as far as this identity politics bullshit and this diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so basically, what you basically telling me is that you want to vote somebody in based off of racism and prejudice and bias, because you're not looking at who's best for the job. You're looking at, and the first thing that you said was, this is what I don't like about Trump. And then you tried to qualify it by a bunch of general talking points, especially when it comes to the diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Those ain't general.
We off that bullshit.
We need diversity.
We all for the politics based off identity.
People currently in the
You see what I'm talking about? Hey, big shout out to Anton, man. If y'all want to, he's making some great points. Close your legs. Close your legs. Okay? Like, keep your legs closed. And the fact of the matter is, Trump said, hey, my hands are off. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It is up to your local government, your state. Just like when Ohio brought it up for a vote. Okay, just like when where was it? I think Florida's got it up for a vote as well. But there was another place, maybe Arizona, brought it up for a vote as well. Not too long ago, a couple of years ago, or maybe now I'm second guessing that. Goodness gracious, there was a couple states that had brought it up for a vote. One being Ohio. People voted to keep it. Okay, fine. Did you hear Trump say, "Oh no, like we got to take over Ohio. We gotta go in there and ban it"? No. The people spoke. You even heard J.D. Vance say the same thing. He said, "I was a little disappointed, but hey, the people spoke. The people spoke." So, like, this whole fear, oh my goodness, you have to have an abortion. And this is another thing. I've never. And this is also disappointing, because it's a lot of black women too. Why are black women so giddy to literally annihilate their own race, to just wipe their own race off the face of this planet? Like that one just that bothers me. Like, why are you so giddy to abort such beautiful children? Like, do you hate yourself that much? Like, I'm just wondering, like, what is it? Like, why is this thing so important to you? Why is getting rid of your beautiful child so important to you? Why is that so important? And why is it so hard to use some type of contraceptive in order to prevent that? Like he said, there's millions of ways. Birth control, condoms included, right? Amongst others. Or just flat out just keeping your legs closed. I don't understand that one. I really don't. I really don't. When Democrats are literally replacing you, you're telling them, great job, I'll help you replace us by aborting my black children. Democrats are bringing illegals into this country at an alarming rate, replacing you. I'm going to say that again, replacing you. And you're telling Democrats, great job, I will help you by aborting my own race. I'm going to leave it at that. Shout out to Anton Daniels. And let me not leave it at that. Let me say this. There are a lot of black women who don't believe in this BS, who don't subscribe to this nonsense. And shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. One of them being my mother, obviously, because I wouldn't be here if that were the case. But shout out to all the black women, beautiful black women out there that don't believe in this nonsense, that don't buy into this BS. Shout out to y'all. Love y'all. Peace and love. I'm out.